Good morning. Um, good morning. Today we'll be learning Megilat Eicha part 6. B'Shem Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach. So this shiur is for Refuah Shelema Avram ben Chana, Rafael Chaim Meir ben Sima Chasha, Shimon Daniel ben Michal, Ditza Hadas bat Chana, and Ora bat Dalia. And for our soldiers to come home safely, and for all Am Israel to be safe in Eretz Israel and everywhere else in the world. For singles to meet their partner in life soon, שיזכו לבנות בית נאמן בישראל, ולעילוי נשמת כל נשמה שזקוקה לזכות. עמרם בן יעיש, אברהם בן מאיר, אסתריה בת יוסף. So to recap, in our last lesson, we talked about the fear of Ben Israel, the fear of death of Ben Israel at the time of the destruction. And we ended the class with a question that we know how important is Limud Torah, the study of the Torah. So how much time should a person spend on Limud Torah and also for Parnasa? So really, I would like to answer that question at some later date because it is an extremely important concept, and it really demands on its own 1 or 2 classes, maybe even more. So, and I would like to continue with Megilat Eicha. So, Yirmiyahu Hanavi, the prophet, said in Megilat Eicha, Chashav Hashem lehashchit Chomat Batzion. Hashem had thought about destroying the Yerushalayim, the Homa, the wall surrounding Yerushalayim. It means Yerushalayim, the Bet HaMikdash, for a long time already, because of the Averot, because of the sins of Ben Israel. Nata kav lo heshiv yado mibaleya. He made a gezerah to destroy Yerushalayim. Hashem made a gezerah to destroy Yerushalayim, and he waited to see if Ben Israel would do teshuvah. But since they did not do teshuvah, they did not stop making avirot, Hashem did not stop his gezerah either, his decree either. See, midah can get midah, measure for measure. There is such a concept that however we behave, that's how Hashem behaves with us. Measure for measure. Then Hashem allowed the Bavelim, the people from Bavel, Iraq, and the Romans. Bavel destroyed the first Bet HaMikdash, and the Roman destroyed the second Bet HaMikdash. So Hashem allowed them to come and destroy the Bet HaMikdash and Yerushalayim. So the obvious question is that we understand that Ben Israel brought the punishment on themselves because of their sins, of their averot. But why did Hashem allow the nations to desecrate his honor in the Bet HaMikdash? After all, the Bet HaMikdash was a very, very holy place, Makom Kadosh, Kol Kach Kadosh. How did Hashem allow them to come and do what they did? So, just as Yirmiyahu Hanavi says, that the very fact that the enemies were able to go into the Bet HaMikdash, into the Kodesh HaKodashim, this in itself is part of the punishment for Ben Israel. As the Navi says, as the prophet says, Asa Hashem asher zamam. Hashem did what he thought, what he planned. Batza imrato asher tziva mimekedem. He did what he said he would do a long time ago. When was this? When he gave us the Torah. He warned us that if we don't follow the Torah and the mitzvot, we would be punished. Haras velo hamal. Hashem destroyed Yerushalayim and did not have any rachamim on the people. Vaisamach alayich oyev. Hashem made the enemies happy by giving them victory and allowing them to destroy the Bet HaMikdash. So actually, in the Gemara, they had the story of Titus. What's the story? Titus came, he was sent by the emperor. He was the top general of the Roman army during the time of the second Bet HaMikdash. And he came to Yerushalayim. And he destroyed it. He destroyed it. They leveled the ground. They are the ones who gave the place name Palestine. They did not even call it Yerushalayim. They gave it a different name. They really did everything to erase anything that would remind anyone that once there was a Bet HaMikdash here, that this place was sacred and belonged to Bnei Israel. When he was done and he was ready to go back to Rome, as he stood on his ship on his way back to Rome, he raised his voice and looked up to heaven, and he said, you look, you see God, you're not that powerful. Look what they did. And he boasted and he was so proud of what he had done. And the Gemara tells us, Hashem says, I'm going to show you that yes, I am powerful. What did happen? What happened? Hashem made a tiny little mosquito go into the nose of Titus, and it stayed into his brain. As time went on, he started to get headaches, and no matter what he did, it wouldn't stop. The headaches would not stop. They were getting worse and worse and worse, to the point he couldn't function anymore. And one day, he was passing by on the street in Rome, and there was a smith who was banging on metal, right? And for a few seconds, the headaches stopped. So quickly he told his soldiers, get that smith, tell him to come. He's going to stay in the palace, and he's going to do his job in the palace, because that provided him with some relief. Okay, so the smith moved into the palace and he did his job. But after a while, even that did not help anymore. And the headaches really got worse and worse and worse, to the point where they said that he couldn't function anymore. When he died, the Romans, they were curious what was wrong with him. And so they opened up. And what did they find inside? They didn't find just one tiny little mosquito. That one tiny mosquito became a pigeon. He had a pigeon inside his brains. And that was causing all the pain that he was getting. And the Gemara goes on and tells us that actually Titus, his body is burnt every single day since then until today. It is burnt every day. And then a malach comes and takes the ashes, spreads those ashes all over the sea. And the next day it starts all over again, gathers all those ashes, burns them again, and spread them all over the sea. That's what happened to Titus. Yes, Hashem gave them that power. Hashem gave them that victory. But it doesn't mean that Hashem doesn't have the power. But that was his mistake. So coming back now, the Zera Shimshon, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim, he asks a question. Why was Nebuchadnezzar chosen to destroy the first Bet HaMikdash, right? We're still answering the original question, right? Why was Bet HaMikdash destroyed, um, and um, and Hashem's honor was really affected, desecrated. So we move on with it, and the next. So for us to get to that answer, we have first to answer this one. And Rabbi Shimshon Chaim, sorry, asked the question: why was Nebuchadnezzar from Babel, the king of Babel, why was he chosen to be the one to destroy the first Bet HaMikdash? So the answer is, the Bet HaMikdash was called a lion, Aryeh. Aryeh is a lion. Its structure looked like a lion that is sitting. What do you see when you're facing a lion? You see, obviously, the picture. So you see the head and the big mane around the face, right? And you see his front paws in the front, right? But you don't really see much of the back. That's how the Bet HaMikdash, if you look at pictures of the Bet HaMikdash, look it up online, you're going to see that the front of the Bet HaMikdash had a structure and the back is not really seen. So that's what we mean when it looks like a lion that was sitting, crouching. Why was the Bet HaMikdash compared to a lion? Because of its power. It had power. As it says in the Navi Yeshaya, Oy Ariel, Ariel, Kiryat Chana David. The Navi Yeshaya said twice, Oy, like how terrible. The Hechal, the Bet HaMikdash, the Bet HaMikdash. The Navi was referring to the Mizbeach. One of the most important parts of the Bet HaMikdash is the Mizbeach, is the altar where they used to offer the korbanot. And the Navi is saying this full of pain. The Bet HaMikdash was built in the city where David lived. Why is the Navi speaking about David and the Mizbeach now? So Navi explained and says, the Navi says, he was actually comparing David, between David and Ben Israel. David is the one who looked for the place for the Bet HaMikdash. It wasn't just any place. It had to be the place where Abraham offered Yitzhak as a korban, and the place where Adam HaRishon brought a korban. It was a very special place. So David was looking for it until he found it, and he paid for it. He bought it. He bought that place from who? Aravna HaYevusi, a man who was called Aravna. He was a Yevusi, and because Yevus is Yerushalayim, that was the name that was given to Yerushalayim before the Jews came in and captured it. So David brought the place from Aravna HaYevusi, and he offered korbanot, sacrifices on the Mizbeach. Hashem was extremely pleased with David's actions, because David, all he looked for was just to do mitzvot. His korbanot were accepted. However, here Yeshayahu says the korbanot that Ben Israel offered were not accepted by Hashem. Why not? Because they were doing averot. Hashem says, well, I don't need your sacrifices. You're doing averot and you want to bring sacrifices. Doesn't go hand in hand. You have to do mitzvot and bring sacrifices. But doing averot and making and bringing sacrifices, that doesn't work. Hashem was not pleased. Inside the Bet HaMikdash, there was the Kodesh HaKodashim, which was the most holy room of the Bet HaMikdash. That's where, if you remember, we spoke about it, that there was the Aron, where the tablets were kept. So this could Aron it was actually put on top of a huge, huge rock. This rock wasn't just taken from somewhere and put there. Not at all. This rock is called Even Hashtiya. What is Even Hashtiya? This Even Hashtiya, this huge rock, actually the measurements are 13 meters by 17 meters. So 13 in the width, 17 in the length, and about 5 to 6 feet high. So that's a huge, really rock. And it has a hole. That hole that is in there is the place from where Hashem created the world. And by the way, today, the rock is still there. Nobody can move that rock. The Mizgad Omar, the mosque of Yerushalayim, the one with the golden dome, is built on that very place. We Jews are not allowed to go inside. But there are pictures online that you can go and look at. And you'll see this huge, huge rock. And it's right there in the mosque. And actually, the Arabs have built a fence all around it. So no one really can go on it. Nobody goes on it. But it's there. Okay? So because it used to be the Kodesh HaKodashim, right? That place. So if the whole world has been created from that hole, right? Hashem made the hole, and from there he created the whole world. That means that the Bet HaMikdash is what protects and empowers the world. It gives power to the world. Therefore, it's called Aryeh. Just like the king of the jungle is the one that has all the power. The Bet HaMikdash is also called Libo Shel Olam, the heart of the world. Why? Because it is the center of the world. Just as the heart has an impact on the entire body, so too the Bet HaMikdash has an impact, has an influence over the entire world. The Midrash explains that the Malchut David, the kingship of David. David started to be the king, right? It was the first king, and it goes on and on. It went on and on. We don't know now. We don't have kings anymore. But Mashiach will come. He'll be from David HaMelech, from the descendants of David HaMelech. So the kingship of David and his descendants is also called Aryeh, lion, to teach us how strong and powerful is the kingship of David. During the lifetime of David, the entire world feared David so much. They feared him as much as they feared a lion. Am Israel, the Jewish people, is also called Aryeh. Why? Because we are brave. We don't give up. We fight and we persevere. Now we come back to the question. Nebuchadnezzar, why was he chosen? Lehavdil. Nebuchadnezzar is also called an Aryeh, a lion. And Yirmiyahu says, Ala Aryeh mesubecho. The lion came from his dwelling place, meaning that Nebuchadnezzar came from Babel, conquered lands. No one was able to stop him. So Yirmiyahu Hanavi compares Nebuchadnezzar to a lion, since he was the king over all inhabitants, all lands, just like the lion is the king of the jungle. We are not finished with this topic and with this question. I will stop here, however, for today. And like I said, I haven't answered yet our question, but Be'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we will do. So in the zichut of this learning, may Hashem bless us and protect us, especially now during these weeks until Tisha B'Av. May Hashem bless us all with beracha, hatzlacha, bri'ut, refuah shlema, nachat, shalom, parnasa tova, vesimcha. Have a good day.